The scrap metal recycling industry has always run on hustle, trust, and sharp instincts. This is the podcast for traders and operators who want to get sharper without losing their scrappy edge. I'm Stu Kagan, bringing you insights and stories from the people shaping the future of our industry. This is Born Scrappy. Andy Golding, next chair of ReMA. I'm throwing it right out there in the beginning. Welcome back to Born Scrappy.
Stu, I appreciate it. I think I'm like 25 or 26 days. So when this airs, we'll see how far away I really am. But I will tell you, man, it is heating up. I am getting closer and closer to the sun, and it's just getting exciting. It's getting exciting, and how it has to do with the convention and everything. It's heating up.
Look, I'll be honest with you. We're really excited. A lot of us follow you on socials and see the personality that you bring to everything you do, which will be a lot about what we talk about today. But we're very interested, no pressure, but we're very interested to see how you bring that into this role.
I am too. And, we'll talk a little bit about that, but there's so much that you want to do in it's such a short time. So I've been really training for this for 6 years. And it seemed like it was just yesterday that I was elected. So I've been really fortunate to work with great people, and we have a great staff. And Colin was a great mentor, and Gary and Brian. I mean, it's just, I've just been very, very lucky, and just can't wait to dive in head first.
Look, Andy, you probably haven't heard this before, but when I think of you, I think of Usain Bolt. Has anybody ever told you that before?
No.
And it's purely because of, I think he once said he's trained all his life to race for 10 seconds. It's like 6 years, it's almost time. It's going to go before you know it.
One of the things, and we're going to talk about this, that ReMA allows you to do when you get elected is travel the world. And how amazing is that? I have over the past 2 years been able to travel the world. And now I get to do it. And Neil Bice, who's going to be the incoming chairman when I'm chairman, is going to travel with me. I mean, it's like, who doesn't want to be a part of this? It's just such an amazing association. We're so well respected around the world. Anybody that's a member can run and do it, because I know if I can do it, anybody can do it.
Just before we started this, we spoke about, I'm busy writing a book. This isn't a punt for it, but I'm putting a whole chapter on ReMA because of how incredible the association has been since I arrived in the US. I've been a part of it for 20 odd years. So I think there's a lot of people out there that don't necessarily know the importance of it. But hold on, we digress. The topic today's a masterclass. We've called on you, Andy, to help us through this. The topic is attracting young talent and letting them lead. Now, this is a super important topic. It comes up on everybody's socials. Whenever you speak to people at industry events, they're like, oh, shit, I don't have enough people. And, how do we bring the next generation through? So, I think let's delve straight into it, Andy, if you're ready for it.
I joined this business 21 years ago. I didn't know much about the business. Whether I said it before, I'll say it real briefly. Matt Kripke and I have known each other our entire lives. If you would have told me he was a shoe salesperson, I would have been sure. So when I was looking for work, I met him. He kind of told me about it, and it pushed all the right buttons in me. And I think that I've been able to sell it a little differently than Matt has, or Matt did for me. But when I first started 21 years ago, my two closest friends in the industry, one was 30 years older than me. The other one was 40 years older than me. And, those were like my daily call guys. I would call those guys every day. I'd learn from them. But people wonder, well, when we first started, did you want to be surrounded by young people? Sure. I didn't know how. And my friends weren't young. I didn't know any better. So it's been a great ride. And my average age of friends now is closer to mine than it was. Industry friends and regular friends is closer to mine than it was when I first started.
I mean, realistically, when you first started, I was there at the same time. It was an old boys club. I mean, we call it as it is. I don't think there were many people that were sitting around having conversations around the next generation and how do we diversify and bring, more females into the industry, etc. That wasn't really a topic. I guess right now, would you say it's more on the radar? How are things changing? How do we follow through instead of it just being a conversation?
So one of the things is that, you have to respect the young people that are coming in. And 21 years ago and 25 years ago and 30 years ago, you needed to grind it out in the yard. Okay. You could have been a lawyer, you could have been an accountant, but you weren't worth your salt unless you ground it out in the yard. Times are different now. Is it helpful to work in a yard? And would I ever hire anyone that didn't work in our facility? No, but the people that we are hiring are more specialized. A person that you're hiring for sales, he needs to learn the product, but he doesn't need to learn how the full operation works. He just doesn't. I've been fortunate enough in my career that I don't know how the full operation works and how to load this and unload that and separate and do all that. I mean, it's not as necessary potentially today, especially when your organization is a little bit bigger. And, if you're hiring in someone who's younger, who's got an accounting degree, I would much rather them be an accountant than work in the yard for 2 years, or you have someone with some social media experience. You're going to get more benefit from that. And 30 years ago and 21 years ago, I think that was maybe a little bit more. And I can kind of see it in your eyes. If you really want to know the industry, well, you had to either come out of the yard or work in the yard. Well, this is a very second, third generation business. A lot of the younger people that are coming in are highly educated. Attorneys are coming in, accountants, engineers. And sure, should they do that work? Absolutely. Should that be a 5-year experience? I don't think so. And if you're talking to someone from Harvard, Stanford, MIT, Ohio State, Michigan, you're not going to say, hey, I want to hire you and have you work in our operations for 2 years just so you can touch and feel the material. It's important, but that's not really respecting what their career is. And so I think that's a big change from back then. And that's how I treat the people. I want them to be familiar, but I don't think they have to fully embrace it completely now.
I totally agree. I mean, I think if I went back 10 years when I was still in South Africa running that large operation, everybody who joined had to go in the yard for years. Now, starting a small operation in New Zealand and growing that, but being so in the coalface of every single part of the business, I was always looking for different people. They could spend a week in the yard just to get an idea for what we did, but they were then the best transport dispatcher that I could possibly find. Or it was the best customer success person or a business development manager. They didn't have to be years in. But you said you saw it in my eyes. I mean, that was me many years ago. And I think it's still a lot of people.
Oh, I was at dinner. I won't say the company. I was at dinner with a group of customers. The accountant, if they watch this, they'll know who it is. The accountant was a nephew. And I said, have you worked in the yard at all? Well, the two brothers got literally into a fight at the table because one brother's like, keep him in the office. And the other brother was like, no, he should be out in the yard. And it was one of those nights where things didn't go well. And for the nephew as well, it was pretty bad. But yeah, it's a little
they
old
definitely
school.
Know.
It's a
if
little
they're
old
listening,
school.
They definitely know.
Yes. And it's not that it's not important. Of course it's important. But to tell a college graduate from a top university, which are the people we should be bringing into our industry, that I want you to do manual labor for a couple of years. If I were that guy, I don't think that would be appealing to me, especially if I had a logistics degree, a social media degree, a marketing degree, or an MBA, an accounting MBA. I don't think that's starting on the right foot and really going to attract the right people.
So Andy, I mean, you've been doing this. I've met the younger people coming through Kripke themselves. You've built an incredible reputation for fun, bold marketing at Kripke. I mean, last time you were on the show, you were telling us some incredible April Fool stories that you've done, which we don't have to go into them right now. But honestly, if anybody sees Andy at a conference, just go and ask him if you haven't heard some of those.
You won't miss this year's. You won't miss this year.
Okay. Oh, really? Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to it. We're not far. So most people think of marketing, though, as a tool to attract customers only. How have you intentionally used it to attract really good young traders who want to be a part of something really exciting?
So I think that people want to be in a place that is in touch, that the ownership and the management is young at heart. And, a picture tells 1,000 words. And I really believe that what we have done is really everything I try to do, I try to brand. And with ChatGPT and making logos and stuff, it's so easy to do that now, whether it's the Waffle House, it's so easy to make like a brand. And for me, a brand tells the whole story really quickly. And that's how young people think. They don't want to sit in front of somebody and have them vomit all over them 25 years of scrap experience. They want to be brought in. They want to be told this is cool. And they want to be a part of somewhere that's doing good in a fun, active way. That is what attracts, I think, young people to us and keeps them. Over the years, I've had 2 people of like 10 that have left. One, it just wasn't right for them, and which was okay. And it was a short amount of time he was here. And the other one got sold a bag of bullshit by somebody else. and it didn't even work out, but both great people. So I think that people want to be around creativity. They want to be around smarts. They want to be able to understand things in short order. And I think that's what we can deliver on.
Andy, if somebody Googles right now, Kripke, what do you want them to think? What's the vibe you're putting out there?
I think creative and smart, that we're creative and we're smart. To me, like smarts is the most important thing because there's no cure for stupid. And there's no pill you can take for stupid. There's nothing that you can do for stupid. So I want people to think that we're a creative group and that our presentation is smart and intentional. Because in reality, it is. It's way more intentional than people could imagine. And I mean the important stuff, not maybe the silly kind of stuff.
Yeah, of course.
That's what I think. I want people to think we're smart and creative.
There's a lot of people in our industry that listen to this and shrug their shoulders like, yeah, whatever. Like they're still skeptical. They still think, marketing is for lifestyle brands. We're not a lifestyle brand. Right. Why should we do it? What have you got to say to those people?
So we opened up retail here in 2021. And as we were growing retail, what we determined was our goal was to steal people that were in the scrap business from other people already doing it. We were trying to steal scrappers to come here instead of going somewhere else. Instead of trying to educate the whole world on what we do, we were trying to steal people to come here. So one of our slogans was, you leave with air in your tires and cash in your pocket, kind of speaking the language of, if you go to a dumpy place, you'll probably get a hole in your tire. So we spent a lot of time making sure our driveway. But the other thing that we did about a year into it was every dollar that we pay you, and we do it in $50 increments, we give you a point. So, we have our system where you bring in 5,000, you get a certain amount of points. The points can be used for stuff. 1,000 points get you earrings, 500 points get you a grill, Yetis. So then we went to our customers and we said, how do you like all this stuff? And what do you think they said back to us? This is the part that blew my mind. What do you think they said back to us?
I think they said it's the reason why we keep coming back.
Not exactly. Sort of. Here's what they said to us. They said, we want stuff with your name on it. I'm like, you want stuff with our name on it? And it becomes so obvious, and it's the marketing story. They are part of our affinity group. They want to be associated with us. We do good in the community. We're good people. We treat them fairly. We make them feel welcome when they're here. Where other yards make people feel like criminals when they come in, we make people feel like family. We make people feel warm and happy, and we treat people right. So why wouldn't they want to have our brand on them? And that's why you do it. If you run a shitty operation, don't do it because no one will want it. Don't do
Yeah,
marketing.
exactly.
But if you run a good operation, people will want to be associated with you. People want to affirm that they've made the right choice on where they went to recycle. And that was really shocking to me. And that's why you do marketing. That's why you're out in your community. That's why we advertise on the radio. That's why you do that, because people want to feel good about the choices that they make. Just like luxury brands, people want to feel good when they see a pro golfer playing with a certain club. They feel a little closer to them if they play with that club. And we should be thinking in those terms. Our yard isn't dark, isn't dirty. You're not going to get your tire popped. We're a luxury brand. Why shouldn't we act like one? Why shouldn't we tell people we're one?
I want to just jump in and clarify, because a lot of people are going to say, well, still skeptical, and I'll tell you why. Because you didn't tell them what the outcome was. Now, I'm assuming, because of how good Kripke is, and I know because I've experienced what you've done, which has a great outcome. What is the outcome like? Do you have people, other than that, they love you guys, do they keep coming back? Are you making money?
So yes, so we have a small retail yard. Most people would consider it a feeder yard. We started it 5 years ago. Right now we get between 50 and 100 people a day. We have on average, probably of those 50 to 100 people, we get maybe 6 to 10 new customers every single day. So then we take those new customers, we put them in our system, we put them in our texting system, and we speak to them about whatever they want to talk about. We have live texting. You want to text in something, you have a question, we have a guy here, he is ready to answer it for you. You have a question about a product, snap a picture, send it in, we'll help you out. That brings them into the family. And they have a strong affinity to us. They love coming here. They feel safe here. They're treated right here. And we have grown definitely a peddler business out of nothing by guys that knew nothing about opening a peddler yard. We knew nothing about it. But
that's the best part, Andy. I'm going to jump in.
Yeah.
Because if you don't know anything, then you haven't learned how to do it badly. Like, I started this in New Zealand. We built a brand from scratch. There was no such company. We didn't go and buy one. We started a brand. Within 3 years, it was much quicker, but when we had moved to our main site, within 3 years, the company was doing almost 80% of the peddler scrap in the whole of Auckland. We were doing well over 2 million pounds or 1,000 tons of non-ferrous just at our door trade. And that was from a brand new company, which no one heard anything of. So can you make money on doing something like this? Absolutely. How was I able to do this? It wasn't me. I had 85 yards in South Africa, and not one of them ran anywhere close to this. But when my wife came in, her first thing was, why can't we be like McDonald's? Why can't we have a drive-through? Why does it have to be dirty? Why are people getting punctures? Why are we treating them badly? Why are we shouting at customers to tell them, go put it down on that scale over there? Like, we changed everything. Because she came in with brand new eyes, she was able to not be tainted by all the bad stuff that I had done over 20 years before that.
In Ohio, the standards that we have to live by, we have to run their driver's license before they pull into our yard. We have to swipe it. Wow. We take a picture of the scrap before they come into our yard. We take their license plate before they enter our yard. And then when they're there, more and more. So we run a professional operation, and a good part of it was built on branding, built on marketing. It's so crystal clear to me how marketing built a business, and then how we have kept it by treating people nicely. And as we started talking about, when you bring in young people, do you want them to see that you treat your customers poorly? Like, why would a young person want to be around that too? Mm-hmm. We would rather lose money on a person coming through our yard then treat them poorly. It's just not good. It's not who we are. And really, one of the other reasons why I did it was Neil Bice said to me, he said, why don't you guys open up a retail yard and just treat people the same way that you treat people in the brokerage side? And I'm like, yeah, sure.
Genius.
Yeah, exactly. And that's
but hold on, Andy. I need to put a pin in it because our train's going completely off the tracks. So love brand, you're not going to speak about all the time. Let's understand when you're sitting across from a young candidate, right? Because brand's important, marketing's important, how they see you is important. What signals tell you that this person has what it takes? Because I have made bad hires, no doubt you have as well. What do you look for?
So two things. And I'm torn right now, but for the past 5 years, I've been looking for collegiate athletes because collegiate athletes are open to coaching. Our environment is heavy coaching, not heavy management, heavy coaching. And if you aren't open to be coached, this is not the right place for you. Now, what I've also found is collegiate athletes that have sales experience, they're really good. I would like more of those. And then when you say to young people, I'm looking for collegiate athletes because you're open to coaching, they're like, well, I love to be coached. Alyssa played softball. We've got lacrosse players. We got soccer players, baseball players. I mean, it's like, it seems, again, like a no-brainer. And people like to know what the goal is. And my goal was collegiate athletes, and they wanted to be a part of a team. And they definitely feel like they're part of a team.
I have the same response, except for a different reason. And that's why I'd never heard this before. So in South Africa, we had brought into the team many ex-professional rugby players, so top-level rugby players. And the reason why I actually hired them was because I believe that professional sportsmen or top-tier sportsmen work really hard. They have a work ethic that is, I guess, the general population don't really get. Of course, you get entrepreneurs, you get guys that work super hard. But as a top-level sportsman, you eat and sleep what you are doing. So for me, if I could get them to buy in and become a part of a team where they loved it, I believe they would outwork anybody else inside the company and set a new level. And that's why I went out. They also, I must tell you, Andy, opened any doors we needed to in sales, like rugby being the top sport in the country. I had an ex-South African rugby player who had won a World Cup. He's actually in the movie Invictus where Nelson Mandela's there and Matt Damon wins this rugby World Cup. Who knew Matt Damon was such a good rugby player? But anyway, he's in that as one of the players, and he could open up any door I needed. So I'm the exact same sportsman, slightly different reason, but I think where we all agree as well is when they're a part of a team, they really push so hard.
And so I've sort of done something over the past 2 years a little bit different, and that was I have really made goals crystal clear. Whereas when I was in the business, the goals weren't always clear. And then even when I started hiring, and I hired Patrick here, who was really my first young trader, I didn't really make his goals completely clear. So at the end of the year, he didn't know if he did really well or didn't do really well. And with athletes, when you show them the goal line, they get it. They may not reach it, but they understand that it's there. And that's also another benefit from this.
I'm laughing because in our last episode, I still remember you said, when you hire a new trader, you say, just go out, make friends, don't worry about buying yet. So what you're saying is, how do you actually assess them? And one of my questions were going to be, I don't understand how you're assessing them. So it makes sense what you're saying. You're actually looking at, maybe that isn't the perfect way of doing things.
Well, yeah. And really in this business, and I know you know this better than anybody, is especially now when aluminum, which is our specialty, is $2 a pound, you're not dealing with a lot of strangers. You have to be dealing with your friends. These people have to have some trust in you. Otherwise, they're not going to give you $80,000 of their material. It's just not going to happen. So that's why these friendships really matter the most. And they go both ways. They go both ways. Hey, I really need this. Or, hey, I really need to get rid of this. Can you help me? And that's where we shine. And it appears that my team here, and it's being managed by one of them as well, really have those good friendships. And that's the whole key. I think that's the whole key to this business.
I mean, I don't doubt that it's an important part of it, which was bringing on, go out there, make friends, because those friends are going to set you in a great stead in the future, right? So hugely important. We'll talk a little bit about Best Young and Brightest as well, and the importance that plays. What's the biggest mistake, I guess, companies make in the first 90 days of bringing in young talent, and how do you kind of do it differently?
So this is such a good question. And I went through this with a friend who attempted and it was somewhat successful to do what we did. And they prejudge. You prejudge everybody. You have a lack of patience, and your expectations of performance are too high too soon. So success cannot be found because you want too much too fast. And so what I like to do is in the first 90 days or the first 6 months is to find things, and I really don't care what they are, that they can be successful at, that we can celebrate a success, because this business takes time. It takes time, especially the brokerage side. It takes time to meet people, to get them to like you, to want to do business with you, to be educated. So that's what I think a lot of people do. And the other thing is that I encourage failure. Why not? We're not going anywhere. I call Kripke Enterprises a river. No one person is going to dam up this river. So, I want you to do something enough where you can make some mistakes along the way. That's my thought.
I guess it's hard though, because, there's a fine line. Where is that safety net? Where do you interject when somebody's making a mistake? Where don't you? I mean, I'm really bad in the first 90 days when I bring on somebody, because I actually, like I say, go to the deep end and let's see if you swim. And my wife will kill me. She's like, but hold on, how do you expect this 23-year-old to actually know that if you haven't spent your time? And I have exactly what you say. I have preconceived ideas that everybody should just know this because it's just standard. But when somebody is failing, I mean, I usually jump in and start to micromanage, which is the worst thing you can do. When is it that you are like, no, this is a good lesson, let them learn it? And when is it like, actually, no, I need to stop this from happening?
So I don't have a lot of stop it from happenings. I haven't had that. It happens or it doesn't. It's not like a slow fall. But if you create an environment where people feel safe and they know they can fail, then they'll ask for help. If you create an environment where they feel like anytime you ask a question, you could just be fired, then they're not going to ask for help. So really what I'm looking for is for people to get into the deep end, ask questions for help from the whole team, and also from the friends they've made along the way, because I think that our customers are also great teachers, and people love to teach each other in this industry. That's how we have done it. And then when stuff gets really, a lot of times in brokerage, it just becomes complex. We have hedging, we have short orders, we have long orders. So unwinding a bunch of stuff is more so where the deep end is than someone buying or selling, a gigantic amount of something that we, make a big mistake on. People probably wouldn't do that.
Well, how do you celebrate? So run me through an average Tuesday afternoon. Somebody did something great. What does Kripke do? What does it look like at Kripke?
So, what does it look like? So Connor in my office, he is managing our younger traders in our Toledo office. First thing he did was he bought everybody glasses with their initials on it. So, and I think throughout our office here, I'm looking at it right now, in different drawers, we have different bottles of whatever. So although we don't drink often, but at the end of the month, if we all do what we expected to do, we'll have a celebratory drink. If someone does something extraordinary, of course, we have a gong in here. And then on a Tuesday,
stop.
Yes.
Of course we have a gong in here.
Yes,
you can't just throw that out there on a conversation like this and think that it's just normal. You think most scrap metal companies have a gong in their office?
That's a good question. The other thing that we do is we all are on teams. And when you do something well, sometimes you don't want to be on teams because the jealousy of everybody. I mean, it's rough. Someone just put up a deal earlier today, and a lot of people say, "Hey, congrats." Maybe the older guys are writing congrats, and the other guys are putting up pictures they found of them when they were kids, eating what they shouldn't be. There's a little bit of the locker room-ish thing here. You get a bunch of athletes together, and we are busting each other's chops all the time, and because they have goals that are really clear. Our system also, our system tracks their goals, and our IT guy, Dave Fisher, has taken it to like another level. So if a guy hits their goal, his picture shows up here, and then there's a guy like with money flying. I mean, it's just, we're hitting people from all directions, and we really are encouraging hitting goals and just having fun. And that's kind of how we do it. Whether it's a Tuesday or a Monday morning or a weekend, it's all the time. It's all the time. And not to belabor it, but one thing that people don't get when they work in this environment is that when they go home, they are exhausted. They say to me after they've been here for 6 months or so, like, I go home, I'm like so tired. I'm like, no kidding. This is combat zone. And you are with your friends and you're talking all the time, and that's the momentum that we're always looking for.
It's funny you talk about the locker room stuff. So the other day, I've got a sales guy, most people know, John Paul, young guy, plays a lot of soccer, looks after himself, eats really healthy. When he drinks, he goes hard, but not too often.
Right.
Trying to look after himself. And the other day, he randomly phoned me. He had been at a customer walking around the yard. And he phoned me when he got in the car, and he said, I'm feeling really ill. I'm like, oh, shit, what's wrong? You okay? He goes, oh, I just smoked like a whole bunch of cigarettes with the customer. And I'm like, what are you doing? He said, oh, well, the customer said, do I want a cigarette? So I thought the right thing to do was say yes.
Right.
So firstly, you can imagine, right? So I'm having a field day. It's like, oh, so if the customer says anything I agree, the customer's always right. But, if he wants a cigarette, let him have a cigarette. Anyway, immediately I told the team, and there were AI pictures going through our Slack channel of JP having a cigarette in a scrapyard, because everybody can, put his face on everything, with his arm around a customer having a cigarette in a scrapyard. So I guess the moral of the story is, the point is, if you know JP and you're listening to this podcast and you see him at ReMA in Vegas, offer him a cigarette, go outside for a cigarette. He loves a good cigarette. He needs at least 2 packs a day. So, keep him busy.
I mean, that's what young people do, and I don't need to say that young people text, okay? So like, if you're not on a Slack with young people, or you're not on, Teams or whatever, like, you're not communicating with them, because that's how they communicate. So, when we started, how do you get young people involved? Well, you have to speak their language, where they speak their language. Yeah. And that isn't necessarily calling them. That's texting and screwing around. We're all in different groups where we screw around with our friends, and that's what the young people want too. That's
okay, we're going to run out of time. This could go on all day. So I'm going to try and get through some of the important questions.
Yes.
Best young and brightest. We're talking about bringing in the next generation. So best young and brightest. This now has an alumni, a super impressive alumni. Guys are chairing committees, chapter presidents. When you launched it, did you dare dream that it would have this sort of impact, or even you were surprised at the end?
Yeah, I was surprised, and I'm just so proud of what it has become, and the demand for it, and people demanding to be a part of it. And really, the thing that I'm the most proud of is, when we designed it, we wanted people, and I keep saying this, to make friends. And there is an educational element that I think matters. But what really matters, and where you're really going to get your education, is if you're in Portland and you've got a friend in New Jersey, and you can call them and trust what they're going to tell you about a situation that you need some help with, that's worth its weight in gold. Or a piece of equipment that the guy in New Jersey has that maybe the guy in Portland is looking for, that is worth its weight in gold. And if in this 36 hours that everyone's together, you can make those friends, it's the greatest thing for the industry, and it did exactly what I wanted it to do. I really did. I wanted, because once people make friends, then they want to go to the next meeting. When they go to the next meeting, they make more friends, and then they're involved. And Sean Dowd, he was from our first class. The guy's going to be chairman of ReMA. How much better does it get? Jacqueline Loxgar is the president of Carey. I mean, these were, the people that were there the first time around. It just doesn't get better than that. If your chapter or your young people want to do something, or you're a young person watching this and you have an idea, just do it. Just do it. Don't let people get in your way. That's how great stuff comes. Great stuff a lot of times comes from the bottom up. And build it. People will support you. Tell them what you want. Our industry is so incredibly supportive of people that you just have to be clear in what you want, and people will follow. They are looking for innovation. They're looking for energy. They're looking for all of those things. Just provide it, and people will support you 100%.
So is it an option for regions to start to do something similar? Because you cap it at 50 people. This is a huge industry.
It's not really for the regions to start, but if you're in a region, start your own thing. Start something different. Start something for seniors. Start something for people that are 57, a different type of affinity group. I mean, there's so much stuff to do. People love to come together. And the more people come together, the stronger our association is. The more your business will grow from the friends that you have. You show me someone that's active in ReMA, I will show you someone whose business has grown from ReMA. If you're active in ReMA and your business hasn't grown from it, you're doing something wrong. See me, I will help you, because your network, your business should grow. As I tell everybody, we're not the American Red Cross. We're not the Cancer Society. We want to save lives, of course, by being safe, but we're in the business of making money. And of course, all of the other things, but we're not here to save, to give blood. We're for-profit businesses. And if you are spending time at ReMA, your business should profit from it.
So as the incoming chair, and we're going to just focus on the next generation, you've got a massive platform now, and it reaches the entire industry globally. What's the single boldest thing you wanted to do to shift the perception of our industry for the next generation?
So earlier in this podcast, I had said to you, look for young people at Harvard, Stanford, MIT. And when I say things like that, oh yeah, I'm sure, no, why not? Our industry is built for those people. Why wouldn't we want people from Harvard and MIT and Ivy League colleges to get involved? Like, we say we're important. We know we're important. We are a critical part of the supply chain. You can't manufacture without us. Where would those people go? We have high tech, between AI and computer learning and everything that's involved. Where would an MIT graduate go? Where they would go, where they should go. So the way to answer the question is, I want to associate us with the best people in the business, whether it's the Amazons, the Teslas, the General Motors, big companies. I want our association and our members not to feel like there's some kind of lesser being and they don't deserve the same type of graduates, employees, seat at the table that those big companies have. I want to associate with those companies. I want our brand to be with those brands. Also, do you want to work for an organization that's associated with the top brands in the world? Well, yeah, of course. And everyone snickers and everyone laughs, but that's the pride that I have in what we do. I feel like we deserve the best of the best. I feel as though we deserve a seat at those tables, because without us, you're not making cars, you're not getting boxes, there's no trucks to deliver them. We are the supply chain. And we have to get that message clearly across.
That message, for example, are we missing a trick here where we're not linking metal recycling and environmental impact. Because there's a lot of people, they might be doing their MBA, they might be doing an accounting degree, whatever it could be, but somewhere deep inside, they want to do something with an environmental impact. Is there a way, or should we be focusing on that a little bit more?
So I hear that often. And when I do bring young people in to talk to them and interview them, they are so jazzed that what we do does save natural resources. They love that. They love that they're a part of something that's bigger than themselves. But does that need to be on the forefront? I don't know. Are we all tree huggers? Sure. I love trees. Trees are great.
But hold on. So I want to just jump in because I think, and I am, a capitalist at heart. We need to have businesses to make money. All I'm saying is, you said it exactly. When you bring in people for conversations, they're like, wow, we're having that type of impact. This is incredible. They go home, they tell their family. I'm not saying we lead with this. I'm saying if people were aware of that somehow, I don't have the answers, but how do we make them aware that not only could you become a commodity trader, head of logistics, a marketing person, an actuarial science if you want to, a scientist if you want to go for the big guys that start working on their statistics and their data. You could find any position in our company. But not only is there a place for you like that, but actually you don't even know the environmental impact that we're having. I'm trying to join those two together.
I think it's very important. I think the difference for me is that I've heard a lot of that story about the environmental impact, and I haven't heard the business case as much. So I'm sort of diving into the business case because that really resonates with me, and I understand the environmental impact, and I probably came through the business through the environmental impact, but I love the business side of our story. And anytime you tell that side, includes the environmental highs and lows that we come with. So that's really
makes a good point.
That's one of them, and the other one is just pride in our industry. I'm not embarrassed by what we do. I'm not embarrassed, especially about how we do it. And I would welcome anyone to see it. I would encourage anyone to see it because what we do is important, and I'm proud of it. And it's big dollars and it's finance. I mean, there's just so much to this that is so cool that anybody should be a part of it. And those that are in it, if you're doing it 90% correctly, you should be like full of pride in what we do. And if I can just change some hearts and minds to make us even more prideful of what we do, that's my platform.
I mean, we talk about finance and all these things. I mean, if you're involved in M&A, what an industry to be involved in right now. Like the amount of acquisitions and mergers and stuff going on right now. So very excited. But I'm not going to let you talk about that because we are way over time.
Got it.
Okay, so I'm sorry. But I'm going to finish up quickly because we always end with some quick fire questions. But I've asked you already where your favorite place to visit is, etc. I'm expecting that hasn't changed. So let's end with these. Tell us something that we don't know about you, Andy.
Something that you don't know about me. All right. My closet is really messy. I'm not great at keeping my closet clean. I hate doing laundry. I'm on social media enough that I don't have a lot of secrets. Maybe I need some more. I don't have a lot. I'm a huge fan of TikTok, but anybody who knows me probably knows that. I love watching it. I burn too much time, and I hate getting that report at the end of the week to tell me how many hours a day I get.
I don't need to know.
Yes,
yeah, exactly.
So
I don't need to know. I hear
maybe
you.
that.
But
what's the next one?
I'm similar to you with laundry. In fact, I once pulled a hamstring doing the laundry. Whether it was strategic or not the point. I've never had to do laundry ever again in my house because I got injured once. I should have warmed up, but I'm glad I didn't because I haven't had to do it again. That's a true story. Lastly, teach me something, anything.
Okay. So I thought about this, and here's my thought for you, okay? At the end of the day, you're the star of your own movie, and nobody really gives a shit about your movie, okay? You're the star, and that's it. No one is waiting for Buddy to put up a new post. No one is waiting for you to put something on social media. So when you do that, no one really cares. Not you, but anybody. Me too, me especially.
I get you.
The important thing is, and the thing that I try to convey is, the way to get around that is frequency. So if you can create some frequency for your brand, you're going to get your message across. But if you think that you're going to put up a post that all your friends are sitting there just waiting by their TikTok for me to say that I just ate a peanut butter sandwich, nobody cares. But if I say I have a peanut butter sandwich every day for a month, by the end of the month, people are going to be saying to me, why do you eat so many peanut butter sandwiches?
Absolutely.
Just to put something up once in a while and say, oh, I can't do anything more, or that's going to be too much. You're only kidding yourself, because at the end of the day, no one cares about you. And I know that sounds terrible. Let me put it this way. No one cares about you on social media. Okay.
Yeah. Totally.
So the only way to beat that is frequency. And with frequency, you will win.
I'm just going to tell you, speak for yourself, because I look forward to every time I see live from the Waffle House. I sit there waiting all week.
I know, every Wednesday. I know, every Wednesday.
Man, I can't live without it.
And don't you agree? Do you agree that frequency is the key?
Consistency, 100%. Absolutely. One post here and there is not going to do it for you. If you want to build a brand, if you want to do anything where people show interest or learn anything or become a part of something, like we spoke about earlier with a brand, you need to be consistent. You have to have frequency. Totally agree. Andy, on that note, because we've gone to 50 minutes, which is the longest we've done before, and I'm going to get shouted at by my wife. Thanks for joining us, Andy. This was lots of fun.
See you in Vegas.
Absolutely. Cheers. That's it for this episode of Born Scrappy. If you have any questions, stories, or topics you want us to dig into, send them my way. Until then, keep it scrappy.